Today we're going to do a comparison between the G.I. Joe's Snake Eyes Classified Series action figure and the Fortnite 6-inch action figure from Jazwares and kind of see how they are alike and how they're a little bit different. We're also going to compare using some of these accessories, backpacks, harvesting tools, swords, and some guns. And I don't know, if we have some time, maybe I'll sneak in something else. But this is kind of just a sit down, let's chit chat, let's have a discussion about what the similarities are and the differences are. Because I've been kind of curious how Hasbro would do their Snake Eyes versus my very first experience with 6-inch figures in these Fortnite action figures. Well, let's just get into it here. So, to begin with, we'll look at some of the more obvious things. They both have double elbow articulation. They both have a double knee joint. They both have tiptoe, ankle ankle hinge. You can rotate the ankles and the calves rotate. And they both do that. Calf rotation, that right there. There is a difference. The Fortnite action figures have a toe hinge right there. The Snake Eyes figure does not have that. They both also have thighs that rotate back and forth and spin around and do things that most normal humans can't do. Like so. The one difference here with Snake Eyes is when you look up there between his legs, there is a different kind of a joint. If you can see if we can do this here so you can actually see it. It's not really working very well here on camera, but it's kind of like a little, there, you can kind of see how that motion happens. There's an extra like little wheel or hinge or something inside the waist area that allows for just a little bit more movement. The Fortnite figure does not have that. So that's just an extra little posing feature for the Snake Eyes. Now, real quick, a little side note is, not all the G.I. Joe figures will be designed this way. So I don't know what all points of articulation will be carried across all of the figures. I know that this one right here, this ab crunch feature, which is, by the way, my first ever figure with that, is not on all the G.I. Joe figures. It is not on any of these Jazwares Fortnite figures. So that's kind of new to me. Jazwares has a waist that rotates like this and a chest that has like a ball joint there. Bear with me, I don't know all the proper hinges and movements and ball joints and this and that. So because Snake Eyes has this ab crunch feature, it doesn't have any kind of a chest articulation there. It does, however, have some sort of a strange like ball joint here. I'm not really sure what that is, but it is like a ball joint, and it allows a very interesting wiggly design. The Fortnite action figures have this little, if I can show you, a finger hinge here. The G.I. Joe figures do not. They have, stand up there, Havoc. They are fixed fingers, if you can see that. They don't wiggle, they're that way. Which I think allows for a better holding of accessories. Some of these Fortnite figures, they don't hold their guns or their accessories very well with that hinge that opens back and forth. They both have bicep articulation. They both rotate at the shoulder. And they have this little, I guess they call it a butterfly or chest articulation. Whatever the official terminology is called. We'll get to the accessories in just a moment. I'm not going to get to what's actually like on this figure because that can vary from figure to figure. It doesn't matter what the company is. So, Jazwares, or the Fortnite figures, have a hinge here in the neck. And, well, here's another biggie. They also have removable faces. And as far as I know, the G.I. Joe figures won't have removable faces. But you can see that hinge right there. and that allows for the head to bob up and down. Yep, so yes it does. I can bob up and down. And they can also, if there's no hindrance, they can also rotate the head around. Now the Snake Eyes figure has some of the same things here. There is a hinge. I don't know if you can see that with the black coloring. Yeah, you might be able to see it a lot better back here. Snake Eyes has a hinge, so he can also nod his head up and down, like so. He can rotate his head all the way around. There is something different. I'm messing up. I'm going to scoot these accessories aside. I'm just messing them up. There is, if you can see that, some sort of a ball joint on the neck into the chest area. That is something that Fortnite figures don't have. So, like I said, whoa, let's just knock everything around here. I don't know, because this was the exclusive for Hasbro Pulse around the Toy Fair time. I don't know if this has got like a lot of extra little features, and maybe I should have actually waited to do this video till later. I don't know if there's like lots of little extra things that the other G.I. Joe figures won't have. So when they come out, and it's supposed to be June, we'll see. Apparently some people are getting them early. Not sure how they're, doing that, but us people who are buying them, more properly and waiting, appropriately, we'll be getting ours probably late May, early June. Some of us will be July. We'll find out then if these G.I. Joe figures have different articulation. I believe Duke has the ab crunch, but none of the other figures so far have that. All right, so backpack time. Let's take a peek at the backpacks. Set them onto the side. Are they compatible? Stay. They're two different companies, so there's no reason to believe that these are compatible. And if you actually look here at them, the peg sticking out, the Fortnite peg is bigger, and the Snake, or the G.I. Joe one, is smaller. So if we go ahead and try to put this on there, you could shove it on there, but that's not going to be happy, or this isn't going to be happy. If I put this on the Havoc, almost said Firefly, and let it go, it won't stay on. So that is absolutely not compatible. Those backpacks will not swap back and forth. All right, so what about, say, like swords and harvesting tools? Well, because, let me hold up his hands like this and see if that helps. Nope, that's off camera. So let's see. If you can see, the hands are only open so much the way they're molded there. The sword, compared to the harvesting tool, is much thinner. This harvesting tool is very thick. So if you want to put a harvesting tool, at least this one, in Snake Eyes' hand, you're going to have to really separate the hands, or the fingers. He'll hold it, but it may stretch out the fingers over time if you have him hold it for too long. And if that happens, he may not hold his sword. Is this even in focus? Let's refocus. There. He may not actually hold his sword very properly. Or he might. It may come back down. Well, how about Havoc? In these videos, everything gets a mess. Bear with me here. So, Havoc has the hingeable fingers. You can open them up, shut them up, and there we go. That was pretty easy. If I shake him around, he actually doesn't seem to lose the sword very easy. That's some serious shaking, so you could do some good playing before this sword falls out of his hand. And you know what? I would actually go so far as to say, I don't think he looks too bad holding the sword. It is a little bit smaller than, I would say, the Fortnite accessories. All right, gun time. So we'll bring out Snake Eyes' Uzi, like that. Open the fingers, shut it up. And I can't quite get Havoc to put the finger in the finger hole there. The finger is just a little bit far away, I think, for... Well, no. Actually, the finger might just be too big. It's either too far away or too big. So beyond that, you could do that, and he could hold it just about like so. Kind of looks a little bit silly. Oh, another thing I didn't mention is the wrist articulation. Real quick. So, Fortnite has this kind of motion like so. The G.I. Joe figures, stand up you, the G.I. Joe figures have this kind of a thing where it goes like this. So they're opposite in their hinge. Just a side note. We'll set him off to the side over here. We'll grab a gun from Fortnite. Actually, I'm going to get two of them. This one, if you notice, is a bit thick here. That is a much thinner, if you can see that. So again, with the harvesting tool, you could shove this thing there, and it might stretch out his hand a little bit, but he can hold it. And I think scale-wise, I mean, they are both 6-inch figures. I don't think this is too bad looking. And if you get something real crazy, you know, brightly colored, it may not look too good with this character or this color scheme. But, yeah, I think it actually looks pretty good. We've got another one. We got a small hand cannon here, or maybe this is one of the dual. No, this is a pistol. I'm sorry. That kind of looks different and funny. But we'll try that. There we go. Let's do this. We'll put his in his left hand, and we'll put the Fortnite one in his right hand. There we go. We'll do something like that. You can take a peek at what they look like there. So obviously, you can really tell this pistol from Fortnite is much thicker. All the stuff from Jazwares Fortnite figures seem to be pretty thick. Pretty thick. So we've looked at the backpacks, we'll set them away. So here is Snake Eyes' small gun, and again, the finger doesn't really fit into that hole, but he can hold it otherwise. Like that. He can kind of hold it like, well, no. No, yes, no. There we go. And it looks kind of funny the way he's holding it, because it doesn't actually fit down in his hand like they really would like for it to. And again, his hand locks well enough that it doesn't just drop out. But it kind of looks puny, this gun, compared to this gun that he doesn't actually come with, but another figure comes with this. Well, apparently I can't even put his own style in here. Okay, something like so. I think this looks much more appropriate size, even if it's falling out. Yep. Let's separate the stuff now. That actually may be all I've got here. Yeah, that's about all I got there. For a comparison, so overall, my personal opinion. We ready? This is nothing I'm telling you that you have to think or believe. But my personal opinion is, while I really do like the Fortnite figures still, you know where this is going. These were my first 6-inch style figures. There are a few things I like about the Snake Eyes figure. This one right here. His waist is really a fascinating, wiggly ball joint that fascinates me. It's very interesting. I've said before in other videos, I've never had an ab crunch figure, and every time I've looked at them, I've disliked them. That's actually one of the reasons I've never purchased a 6-inch figure, was I didn't like the look of the ab crunch mechanism, the articulation, whatever you want to call it. Once I actually got Snake Eyes, and I've been able to play with it and move it around, it's actually not nearly as bad as I thought it was. In fact, it's growing on me, and it's growing on me real fast. He can do motions that I didn't realize was capable, is capable. I do still like this chest wiggle, this motion here, but unfortunately, some of them on the Fortnite figures are a little bit tough, and unfortunately, some of the figures do have some hindrances in their articulation. One thing I really like is the fact that Snake Eyes doesn't have a finger joint, a finger hinge. The Fortnite figures have that, and I don't like that, because a lot of things fall out of their hands, And I think that over time, if the finger is used more and more, the fingers, then that could be a joint that gets loose, and then maybe it won't be able to hold stuff. But I really like these. He came with replaceable hands. Unfortunately, those hands can't hold anything, but they do kind of create interesting poses. So the other thing I really like is this motion right here. Hey, it's working this time. So it's like you can pull down the leg a little bit and stretch it out. As opposed to if it stays up, it has more limited articulation. But this, I mean, look at that. What a high kick you can get there. We tried that with Havoc. That's about his high kick range right there. I'm really trying not to skew it, but he keeps falling forward. So I actually think this has, the Snake Eyes figure has the better high kick because of this little wheel thing in there. This little rotational thing. You can do some very interesting poses with Snake Eyes that you can't do with Havoc. Now, solidness, this figure and all the Fortnite figures, they are solid. They feel good. They're not going to break. Snake Eyes is really light. If I had to say, Snake Eyes is a lighter figure, Havoc is a heavier figure. Snake Eyes, I actually think, feels like it could break easy. Not fragile, but it doesn't feel like solid plastic like this does. I think part of the reason is like the, I don't know, what do you call these, like shorts? This waist area is actually not the solid plastic. They've covered the short, or the waist area with this kind of a soft plastic. Can you see that I can pull that down there a little bit? It's covering a piece, which is kind of neat. If you think about it, in the future, they can reuse the waist piece and just create this cover that goes onto it. His armor for the chest also is the same thing. You can actually take this armor off, and it's like a soft plastic, see? You can peel that up, and it can go right on off over the arms. The pants, I think the legs in these pants are actually them, but they feel soft, and I think that may be part of it. He is just solid plastic, so I think he feels stronger and more sturdy than the G.I. Joe figure. Now, I'll have to base some, keep evaluating when the G.I. Joe figures come out in a month and a half? Yeah, month and a half. So anyway, that's my thoughts and my comparison on the G.I. Joe Classified Series Snake Eyes next to Jazwares Fortnite 6-inch action figures. And I thought this one was the most appropriate since it looks like Firefly, as opposed to, say, I don't know, Tomato Head or Beef Boss, somebody that's like really crazy looking. But I thought this one and the Jonesy figures are the ones that probably are the closest that resemble maybe what a G.I. Joe figure could look like. In fact, if I remember right, I think I did a video, what could a G.I. Joe 6-inch figure look like a while ago, and I kind of used him, or maybe it was his video that I talked about. Anyway, thank you for sticking by and watching this long. If you enjoyed this at all, please hit that like button. That helps the channel out a lot, more than you probably will know. If you like the content that I am putting out, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon, because that also helps. Well, thank you for stopping by and watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. We will see you in the next video.